Gage has activated Malevolent Cleansing with Sukuna Kaisen continuing with another beatdown. This time, the victim is none other than Maki. Gorgeous Generation has become special grade sorcerers with their new powers. But you know, since Yura Uemi said, Sukuna wasn't even trying, everything goes wrong. But I know what you're thinking. Hold on. Sukuna wasn't even trying? Didn't he feel uneasy for the first time? In 1,000 years in his brain damage? Didn't he recently lose an arm? Doesn't he have lowered control of the body? Did a Yuji and even less RCT Alpha? He even gambled to take on Jacob's ladder and is pumping his heart manually due to Maki. Well, according to Gage, this was all according to Sukuna's plan to finally achieve a challenge, as all. This punishment so far has made him enter the zone to use Black Flash for the first time. Come on, man. This man done knocked out your waifu and enjoyed doing it. You can't keep getting away with it. But the disrespect doesn't stop there. As it is revealed, Sukuna calls Yuta, Higuruma and Kishimo starters to his meal. Just like Kenjaku, who is interested in Higuruma due to his technique. Sukuna claims Maki is the first person that has made him rely on his body rather than jujitsu. What the fuck does that even mean? Well, I'll get to that. As the clash between them continues at full pace with Sukuna using his slashes. However, as Chapter 252 established, Maki, like Maharaga, can see his technique better than any other sorcerer. Sukuna was astounded by this fact when he saw Maharaga achieve this, and similarly, it allows Maki to escape death multiple times. Unlike Yuji, who claimed he should have died 4 times. Maki launches multiple attacks, and it's evident she has become even more powerful after the 1-month time skin, as her strikes casually cut buildings in half. However, with this much force combined with speeds above 2,300 miles per hour, it's still not enough. Herald Sukuna attacks Maki in every way possible, such as throwing a car towards her and even grabbing her to launch cleave at point-blank range. From Chapter 250, we know this would be certain death for others, but since heavily restriction allows the sorcerer to refine their body instead of Jitsu to maximum capacity, unlike others, Maki would be incapacitated rather than dead. However, before that can happen, Ino and Kusakabe try to jump Sukuna. Well, tries the key word because he kicked away Ino, who couldn't even activate his curse technique. Absolutely useless. Their plan was to trick Sukuna with the help of Nunami's weapons imbued with his ratio technique. Earlier, Ino had used it against Sukuna in Chapter 246, so they wanted to achieve the same results. But since Gage doesn't stop glazing Sukuna, his sharp memory activates instantly, allowing him to realize that Ino not using Nanami's technique was a trap. Hence, when Kusakabe came into attack, it completely flopped. Mission failed. We'll go next time. This is when Maki gets ready for round 2, where we come to know something massively surprising. Sukuna was excited to see Maki all along. No, not that type of excited like you degenerates. Calm down, sir. I'm talking about using their fists. It is evident from the beginning that Sukuna enjoys experiencing all techniques and phenomena of jujitsu, be it the Tin Shadow technique, Joggle's fire, or healing burnout using reverse curse technique. He leaves chances to experiment with each concept, as every ability is what a new toy is for a kid. Hence, he wanted to hash with Maki, who existed without a single drop of energy, something he hasn't witnessed before. So, to someone full of pride regarding his jutsu ability, and who measures everyone in terms of strength, the fact that Maki threw away everything is absolutely absurd to Sukuna. On the one hand is the king who has achieved the pinnacle of power with Jiu-Jitsu, and on the other is Maki, who somehow stands alongside special grades without being able to conjure curse energy at all. Think about it like a video game where you distribute stat points. Sukuna has 100% in curse energy and Maki has 100% in her physical body, being the opposite, which is why this unique situation Weishin made Yuki curious as well. She was researching a way to erase the presence of curse energy completely. Heavenly restriction was the perfect example of the world she envisioned. She wanted to research Toji, as he was the only living proof that her goals might come to life. Hence, Sukuna was looking forward to facing this reality. Remember, guys? He had fought Maki in Chapter 215, which is why he already had an idea of her capabilities. This was the moment the king had decided to fight Maki again, to see the power gap between the two extremes, and if he lived his life correctly this entire time. For example, even in Chapter 253, Sukuna wastes no time to waste Yuji yet again. Why? Because his unwavering soul can prove Sukuna's use of Jujutsu to be wrong, where Yuji lives for others and wants to save people with his power. However, with the outstanding amount of stocks we all invested in Maki, it all comes bubbling down as Sukuna humbles her. So far, it isn't even funny. Hang on, I'm getting cooked. First, Sukuna overcomes one of Maki's biggest feats, speed. After the training and the time skip, she must be even faster than her fight with Naoya, where she was going mark-free. But when she tries to hit Sukuna with a pillar, she vanishes from her sight. But not for long, as he appears right next to her, grabbing her face with such a high speed that they both get thrown off the building. Next, he goes for her physical strength. Another huge factor of Maki's heavenly restriction In Chapter 252, we saw her overpower the king when he grabbed the sword. But now things are different. As Sukuna has entered the zone, his neck slashed tears off Maki's face. I can't even show that on YouTube. Any other person would have had their head splattered across the canvas. Sukuna claims that Jujutsu at its core is skin and flesh, but the physical body of Maki is all marrow and bone. And then he tells us, do you get it? And I'm sitting there reading the chapter knowing that maybe 90% of you didn't get it. But don't worry, I'm here, right? Hit the notification bell. And like the video, remember Kodo said in Chapter 37, we exist in this world with our entire mind, body, and soul, wherein these three elements aren't just connected. Rather, they are one singular thing that makes up a living person. And since they are one, human beings exist as a life form in this world. A great example would be Makido being able to use idle transfiguration to change the shape of a soul, which would then end up changing the physical shape of a person. In the same way, both Jujutsu and physical capabilities define a sorcerer. They can't live with just one element. This is why Sukuna goes ahead to claim that Maki's existence alone defies Jujutsu. She lacks the most crucial thing in Sukuna's eye, the very thing that makes a sorcerer. Hence, he believes that it is his duty to find out. The king settles the battle with the one technique that reflects the core of Jujutsu itself. Black Flash. Ladies and gentlemen, Maki suddenly noticed that Sukuna stopped healing himself. A reverse curse technique. But she hadn't expected that Gija's love for Sukuna was far greater than Toji and herself, which results in rehumans. Sukuna finally uses the op ability that only a few rare sorcerers can use in Jujutsu Kaisen. Remember that Black Flash even knocked out the king himself when Gojo used it at full power. Gojo's punches were not even normal ones either, as all his hits were critical according to Nanami, and his blue would be imbued in them. These had enough force to make Yuta and Hakai vomit with one punch. But now we have Sukuna's Heian Air form, which is likely twice as strong as Gojo since he wasn't even serious this entire time, right? So if Maki isn't dead, she definitely is knocked out. To make matters worse, Jangi is unhinged. He did all of this on International Women's Day. So you have chosen death. And remember that Bum Kashima, who we said got the title of strongest fighting farmers and milkmen 400 years ago? Well, Maki lasted barely 2 chapters against Sukuna in his weakened state, whilst he held his own 4. The same number of chapters against his true form. I'm just saying. But with Sukuna having ecstasy and nothing, he may actually even become stronger, as Black Flash allows sorcerers to operate at 120% of their maximum potential. When God drawed 2 consecutive Black Flashes, in Chapter 235, his demeanor completely changed, because he was able to recover his curse energy and even his reverse curse technique, which means exactly what you're thinking. Sukuna can totally refresh himself if things keep going his way. But luckily for us, we have Kusakabe. Our universe is doomed. And guess what? It gets better. The chapter begins with his flashback, with people claiming he's strong. You know what that means, right? Yeah, he's dead. Now the sorcerers testify that Kusakabe is indeed the strongest. First grade, this is a parallel to everyone being asked, what does Gojo mean to you? In the volume extras where they replied, he's the strongest. This time it is Gojo, who agrees with Kusakabe's ability. But honestly, the last time we trusted this man, he did say, nah, I'd win. And we all know what happened. I mean, Kusakabe himself is shitting his pants, wondering where the heck is everyone else? And did not want this situation. The strongest sorcerer in history versus the last sorcerer of today. But before we underestimate him a bit too much, Kusakabe does have some achievements to himself, such as avoiding death and protecting Miwa against Maximum Uzumaki, dodging Maximum Meteor, and even recently nerfing a true form. Dismantle all this is nearly not enough to kill Sukuna, but hopefully he can hold his own rather than die before the others appear after being healed. Remember, UI is teleporting Gojo, Yuta, and all others to shock or to heal them back to full capacity to return to face Sukuna. And with Gojo's return with the gang jump Kaisen 20 is the only way the story can proceed. Because with Yuta Uemi claiming that Sukuna isn't even serious, a huge problem of an unscalable power gap has come through. Each time a clash proves to be hopeful, such as Yuta and Yuji's combo or Monkey stabbing his heart, we are told that Sukuna still has more to unveil. And he does. He still has not used Open to show all his other techniques and also has one more finger to consume. This means that he is more powerful than all of them combined, even in his weakened stage. The real issue is that if the students have already thrown everything into the fight, how will they defeat Sukuna? Well, watch this video on your screen right now regarding why Gojo is returning from death.